So on expert we are doing this. Let's go.
Alright, let's go. I'll accompany you there.
There's another Maya behind me.
See her again.
Been ready.
I set up these grapple shortcuts. Nice, huh? Don't tell your sister though. I sort of borrowed the hooks from the Expedition Academy.
Of course you did.
Sophie will have already gamaged by the time you've arrived.
My head.
She looks so
Jesus.
She's popular. I'm sure she already has a necklace full of flowers.
You doing anything good for your birthday projects?
I know what you...
No.
Come on. And...
Alright.
Yes!
Well, you don't do a lot of damage there. Oh, nice, nice. Where you going? Or is she cooking you dinner? You cooking her dinner? It's your birthday. I'm assuming you're not cooking at all, right?
Why people like to celebrate the gommage is still a mystery to me, but... Oh well. The red and white tree. I've always found it beautiful. I don't really understand. You and Sophie
But yeah, so I've got everybody set up with the form of shotgun build just to try and get the most out of the damage as quick as possible.
to say something.
Sounds like a plan.
It's a bit late, isn't it?
I can't imagine.
Do, 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 do.
I'm fine. I've lived 33 good years. Look around. We've had our whole lives to prepare. We're all fine.
I'm not fine.
Honestly.
I'm not fine.
You will be. Never played this game before in my life. Oh, Lune's playing.
Oh, Luna's playing. You two would make a cute couple.
I feel sorry for her sometimes.
I feel sorry for her.
Who? The paintress?
She looks so lonely.
She looks sad. Maybe she's a prisoner too. Stuck in the sea. I've always loved the harbour.
Good chat, good chat. Okay, plan this evening, folks, then. So, we're going to scrap,
Let's at least check on my apprentices.
Baldur's Gate 3 this evening. And we're going to look at the hit list stuff. Does that sound like pain and suffering?
I shall fake. I can do that.
I promise.
Adrian?
I'll use every...
That's everything you told me, Monsieur G.
Look, I know we've been the rest of us. You don't need to leave.
1 year out.
I know you've...
If anyone's...
So deep.
No, I don't.
Emma thinks...
Lumi has... Besides...
Right.
Sure.
Doubly lucky.
Alright.
Old man.
You'll... This time...
Oh, what do you feel like doing? You want to do boulders? Want to hop in with that? Maybe see if we can get excelling as well. Maybe. I'm not sure what Sancho's doing. Obviously, Sancho's gone away, hasn't he? Or going away.
You're never good. You're so... Just take me.
Weird. She really... You mean the one...
Just suggest...
I do, anyway.
sounds like. I mean, if not, I mean, you can do. We can hash them out. By all means. La da 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 la da da. Oh, come on. Nuke. I need to brush up on my D&D before the new year. Well, did Sancho mention to you? He was on about looking to try and sort out a D&D thing for us to have a gander at. You mean the flakes? They mean the start and restart group. That bunch. Come on. You say that. You say that. Nah, I'm joking, mate. I know. We know how it is to keep things organised. Yeah, paybacks. Mother boss. Yeah. Like to blow up and break up. Well, look, I said us down for it. I've never done D&D, so why not? Move quicker doing that. Oh, I imagine it is. Has anybody watched the new episode, the episodes of Stranger, or the new season of Stranger Things by it? This thing never drops down anymore.
Is that a house?
Looks abandoned.
I mean, I won't spoil anything just in case some people haven't.
If anyone else made it, they'll regroup there.
Yeah. Here we are, huh?
Yeah. The continent. The indigo trees over there.
Great, jeez. Terrible flying. There we go. Let's put some effort into it. No, I haven't watched Stranger Things since the first season. Really? I thought it'd be something you'd watch their projects.
These blue trees.
Something's disrupting the chroma around here. Someone came here before and set up these handholds.
Probably Expedition 69.
Oh, also,
Thank them for that.
it was alright, but I'm not a huge TV guy, so I watch whatever. There. If we get, and this is a thing, if we get this hit list done, we're going to do the rando for E33. Who's interested for that? Anyway.
Flares.
Survivors.
So yes, that means we can get the absolute stupidest of stuff.
ready?
Alright, he's stunned. That's fine.
That's what I'm talking about!
How are we doing, Alan? Welcome in, sir.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Okay, does Mile just do it herself? This is probably a slow way of doing it, but I was just intrigued to see, so. Also, we've got piercing shots, which is why these shields are staying on. I think Maya can just do it on her own. I think just generally her damage alone will do more. Okay. We don't want to split. Okay, I'll do the splits myself.
So, the message said head north, to the weird corals.
And a door in a hut.
It's been a long day. We should make camp.
I'm fine.
Bum, 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 bum.
Mael, if we're dead.
Alan, how are you, sir? Are you on or are you off? Final one off. Did you do some more Marvel Rivals? Have you achieved your goal yet? Solo? Nightmare 4? Alright. I'm going to try the solo fight with my out. Okay, honey. Thanks, baby.
Wait. Evron. Looks like a different species.
Doesn't matter. They're between us and Mael.
Those mines. Be careful.
Over there. A hut.
Slow down. We don't know what's inside yet.
Sorry, Miss Gordo's just been passing some of my cards up. And she's quoting off the rarities of some of the old Digimon cards. She's like, well, I used to open all those packs of cards. Because at one point I used to function as almost a TCG. I used to open literally near enough a crate of Digimon TCG stock. And me and Miss Gordo used to go through the thing of sorting them out.
There was a message at the indigo tree.
In some ways missed that, because we used to enjoy that. Lune, you have it.
Again.
Thing is, I would to the point, but it's so expensive these days, as well as the fact of.
Fiery.
See, I prefer the idea of playing as well. If I'm gonna do it, I want to be able to do it for a game I can play. It's like I've got I've got 3 decks of My Hero Academia, but I got no one who plays it, even though I really enjoy the game. I think the only person who did it was Crimson Brit. Was one of my mates I used to play TCGs with. And then like One Piece, I've got decks of that. Me and Projects used to play some of that, but yeah, obviously we just don't get time to. Because I got my loose deck. Still haven't played that deck, by the way. Projects.
There's a path through the boat.
That anchor doesn't look man-made.
Yeah.
Have these because I'm not having you today. Come on.
Of course you can. Of course you can, honey. Love you, princess.
It's forging something. So they have
Yeah, because I got a Lucci deck and I've also got a Luffy/Starro deck, whichever leader you want to put at the top of it. Do I have a mod in chat? Can set up a poll for me?
So many. I don't like this. Merde. This one is gigantic.
Avoid those at all costs.
Yeah, I'm gonna try solo again with my L. See if that works. I can use Last Chance to get another turn out of it as well.
Did you not charge up ladies' nights?
This will hurt. Surprised to find you here.
I hope we can trust him.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm trying to think how I want to do the hitless. I think I am going to go with no enemy damage to start with. That way I can at least try and play it to a similar route as to what we've been running.
Noko's not great with specifics.
We'll just have to think like Gestrels then.
Do.
The dance begins. Ready to carry.
payback for all the things that randomly hit me in this game. This is right now.
These things are fascinating.
How do they even stand?
I get asked that same question after a few drinks.
This is confusing.
Built it to make their village harder to find.
On to the ultimate sack of potatoes. No idea why this auto split's not working, but oh well, fine.
This will hurt.
You ratio, I ain't bothered. Thinks I care about his shield. Ow. Do, 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 do.
It's really a village of Gestrels.
They seem better at surviving than humans.
I guess intelligence is not a prerequisite for. It was.
There are so
We need to get to...
others of a white hair. You know him. So Eski.
Why? We already.
Damn.
The strange. Lead the way.
Survival on the continent. Now to find the chief's house.
Mm-mm-mm. I've been riding shotgun. You know what crazy part is? Okay, we're ahead of where we would be in a normal game, sure. But not like leaps and bounds. Well, we're here by about 35, 40 minutes, which is slow because you should be here by 30. So that's only like 6 minutes than the normal one. Just goes to show you, even on a normal thing, you can get to the point of you're still very consistently quick at these things.
Thanks, Chef.
Yeah, sod it. I'll bring the expert rundown at some stage, but I'm down to send this run and then start the hitless practice. So be prepared for my misery or my delight. Who knows? I'm maybe a Mercedes. Maybe. All puppy projects. Don't you promise me a good time? Hey, papi.
Interesting decor. SK is said to feed on light.
Are you okay, Maya?
I don't know. Getting a bit of
Also,
deja vu again.
The light here. It feels a little. I don't know.
genuine question here. So the run for Hitless is done on anything expedition or expert. Story doesn't count for it. Technically, our Hitless route's not going to be speedrun anyway. Well, it may well be, but it's going to end up being. We could look at expedition. You know what? I sod that. I'm going to stick with expert. I don't give a crap if they've got more health.
We get, the more questions I have.
You okay, Sia?
Yeah. Esquier is surprising.
Okay.
All this.
No.
But you.
Scram!
Francois and Esquier are very different from Gestrels and Nevrons.
You think the paintress created them too?
If not, who else?
Maybe they came from another world.
So project, how old are you going to be, mate? Yeah, reaching that big 50, big 50? Pushing 55? Not about your weight. £400 of raw meat. Old as dust now, you know what, mate? Not a day over 21. Let's camp first. All right. Yeah, the thing with New Game Plus though, like, it is unequivocal. Just geez, because like you're going through what you would do Act 3, which is my Elwes standout, and obviously you can learn, and like we have done here, obviously the save itself has been set up for it, but like you can just over level excessively and just go ham. Simple as that. No way, two ways about it. And you do that with a standout with all the right setup. It's like, okay, there's a shed load of damage. That's one boss done and one hit. Another boss done, another hit. Me, I'm just quite partial to the whole shotgun build. I like the idea of the free aims just kind of stacking back up on themselves. And also using things like burn stacks and that to do a lot of damage.
A shrine to the paintress.
The paintress destroyed our world, and someone built her a shrine.
The weak-minded turn to whatever they can to explain the
Get over the thing.
When you're at the mercy of a power you don't understand, you might try anything.
But yeah, so I mean, I can be happy enough with that. So we've done a run of story. We've got a decent run of story. We're at 4th, 1 hour 54. Expert can come down at some point, but I'm not in a massive rush to just kind of go ham, overly focusing it. Oh, have you not got music again?
Flurry is over there. I sense something scary.
Right, that messed the time.
The dance begins. me.
Oh, that's fine. We got revives.
Merci. This will hurt.
Yeah, outside of virtuoso, you don't do a lot. Cool. So we just go virtuoso. Simple. I mean, that was terrible.
We've done nothing to you. We should be on the same side.
You know what I would have liked to see, in, like, on DLC purposes? Let me play through some of Renoir's story. The pimp think himself, the man, the myth, legend, Pierce Brosnan / Andy Serkis.
Something's going on up there. Escape! Get us up there!
I mean, the question is, could we have killed him there? Do you think? Nope. But it's good to know. Also, we're going to do a hitless on console. We've got the save states on PC to practice some boss fights and that. But I want to do the main routine on console. I can breathe.
Head for the monolith, through the quarry to the north.
Swim, swim. You clean me up, me. It's about day.
Everyone okay?
Alright, our friend.
Ready to parry. The dance begins.
Any other tricks we should know?
One thing at a time.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, so that could work. I just have to make sure that I remember to take it off the right points, though. That's going to be the big thing. Yeah, I think auto death might be a good shout, just to facilitate what we need, which is everybody at low health, especially when we have
Expeditions?
few people to be able to flee.
Everyone took out most of them.
Is it still around?
I've only seen it once, many years ago, so most likely not.
Looks like we passed the danger zone.
And no sign of your special Nevron.
Oh, I guess we're lucky.
You know what? I'm gonna do this fight with Verso. Just because.
Let's have some fun.
Okay. Like to do any skills? My bad. Fine. As we'll get him on the counter.
Cut him down.
Right.
Let's have some fun.
Sweet. Sorry folks, that was a form of payback. If you felt like I had a grudge there, I did. Still do. This guy's with one of the biggest false sense of security I had. Because I had his number down in my story runs, expert, he was an annoyance. I could use our lives on CL as well in the run, which puts everyone's health down low.
Is this the place?
Yeah.
Robbo, thank you for the good luck. Thank you for the good luck, sir. How are you doing? It's just a new game plus one, so this is just a full-on, just a vibe check. This is payback for all the misery, but then we are going to be moving on to Hitless. Alright, and then after, if we manage to achieve Hitless, we're going to be doing a rando for Expedition 33. That is the plan. The question is, do I have fun with a new game plus? Can we even remotely? Right, powerful there. Definitely right there. Berserk slash there. Interesting how they just reset his. The rando looks cool. Yeah, to be fair, it does look pretty good. Have you not tried it yourself, Robert? Oh no, you're strictly console as well. I'm only just looking to dabble in it. I'm not even sure if this whole thing will hold up with it without having a seizure.
How far to Minoko Station?
With SGA? No, should be quick.
It does, to be fair.
Minoko Station is to the north, not far from here.
I mean, I don't get me wrong, you can probably get cooked very easy. Just like, getting something ridiculous like first boss. Hey Quirky, how we doing? Welcome in, welcome in.
Follow the tracks. They'll lead us to Minoko.
I'm good, thanks, I'm good. We're just doing a New Game Plus run, and then we're going to move on to trying to route the Hitless. Now, like I said, context for anyone that's just joined as well. The Hitless run that we're going to be attempting on Expedition 33 is going to be a no enemy damage Hitless run. So we're not allowed to take any sort of damage, tick damage, burn damage, or anything, I believe, from an enemy overall. But in terms of self damage, so like for example, to put ourselves into threshold where we can do enough damage at death or SOS and that, we're allowed to do so. So one thing I'm looking to incorporate, and for those who play the game, if you have any suggestions, feel free to throw them out there. I'm open to it. Alright, so you just stand out. Stand down. Dead. I'm thinking of running with auto death. So you know how we in the runs previously we've taken fights just so we've got hit and gone down to 1 and whatnot. But whereas if we can do it, whereas we use that auto death on the first 3, then the other 2 just flee. That way the front line is already set up, ready to go. Do we get to skip the whole thing with the gradient? Oh, yeah, to skip that channel. Right, on to Renoir.
Welcome, my friends, to old Lumiere.
Is anyone still here?
Just Neverons.
Robbo, what are you working on at the moment, mate? What's your project? I don't know if you've noticed, we've seen a few more people turn up for first Berserker runs.
We're lucky it did. That's probably...
Claire DLC, mate. How are you finding it? Nice, nice. I played a bit. This whole thing started with me just leveling up my console one. I refuse to do the DLC on the PC one because it's just scummed.
move on, shall we? How exactly did a piece of Lumiere end up on an island when the rest of the city is here?
One of the great mysteries. I wish we had more time. There's so much to study here.
I mean, I would hydrate. I need to get myself a drink.
The world was smaller,
Are we going to see you return back to First Berserker?
livelier.
Bring in some of the new stuff you've learned? Super Meat Boy 3D demo runs. Okay, nice. I remember Super Meat 3D Super Meat Boy. Okay. I remember that. I played the 2D one. Meat Boy. Got that meat. From you or from somebody else? No, it's still quirky.
Of a bakery near the centre. Angelique's Boulangerie. I ate there every morning. I wonder if it's still there.
It's called me.
That was silly.
I can do it.
I never said there was treasure.
I can do it.
Struck by a smooth criminal.
So, where did you go? I need to find Luna and Ciel, quickly.
We're ducking and weaving. Alright, on to Renoir. Crazy. Like, our fights are minimal, but time-wise, not drastically different from, like, the normal run. I think we're here in, like, hour 7. And obviously our time's not ideal. Like, it's not great. We should be aiming for an hour. Treat. I think this really is. I think, you know what? After doing it, I don't think I want to do another one again. So I will put that to rest, which I'm fine with. Because I imagine there's optimizations to make this work more functional and be quicker, because a lot of stuff I've still done slower than others would do, because I'm faffing around with shotgun builds and stupid things like that, whereas they're like one shot with something quick and easy. I think that's why I'm like, because we've done the expert run, and I'm happy enough. Like, I know we can get more out of it, which is fine. The hitless is only going to let us add to that. Besides Expedition 33 hitless, because once we've done this run, that's what we're going to be practicing, and we're going to be kind of working our way through.
So this is Visage Island.
He who guards truth.
And there's going to be some problems with that, because there are going to be just some enemies that catch us out.
infinite sea of them.
Is the island singing?
This melody.
This is creeping.
But I do, obviously once we got this thing, I do want to get some first Berserk stuff done. Like I said, I was working on something for that, which I wanted to send over for potential submission. And then there was the Crucible and that runs as well I wanted to do. All the bosses down. Get them out of the way. And then we've got one more DLC to run in Stranger Paradise. Plus we've got a New Game Plus run to do on that.
Minoko, what does that mean? He who
Alright,
guards
after this we got Glistening Serene.
Exactly what it sounds like.
Guard as in protect? Or guard as in control?
Yes.
Yes. Cracking answer there, Monaco. Cracking answer. Okay.
On guard.
And then we'll just do Last Chance to end out. Oh, no we won't. Oh, we haven't even got thingy in this. Okay, cool.
elements converge.
Well, that's a shame. That's, again, sloppiness, but YOLO. Okay. Not very often I miss that one.
I'll manage.
Last chance. Blades sharp. Firing.
Alright, let's just make sure CL's in team at all times. Always have a backup just to intervention back to Mayo. Yeah, that way. There was a random game I did want to try and do a run for at some point. Does anybody remember the game AI Limit? There's a short run involved in that game. I think it's like an Act 1 run of it. I might try that at some point. Oh, I've got a cracking idea for a January sub goal. Nobody's going to want that. Someone I know from the After Image community used to run that. Oh, nice, nice. It's a decent game, right? Yeah, it Souls-like. It's like anime kind of Souls-like vibe. We get past this one, then it's just the straight the home stretch, and then I think we can all agree just New Game Plus put to rest, right? And that was that the answer to the me putting to rest. Look, that was quick. I felt like that was time before I even said it.
It is mesmerizing.
This dance feels...
I was gonna say. I was like, all right, mate. I was like, jeez, let's get personal. I was like, nope. I thought so. I was just like, jeez, Robbo's on it. It's like, yeah, get rid of it. Shit game. But no, ARLM was, yeah, it was good. It's like, also, I mean, I don't know if I want to go into like Souls running. I mean, agree or disagree. I'm over to either. I'm not saying I want to get into Souls running, but you know, it could be interesting after a few of this stuff. Who knows? Black Myth Wukong. Maybe. Cracking game. I really did like Black Myth Wukong. It was great. It was a decent game. It's available on console now as well, actually, so I could get on there. Oh, that's not a bad shout. Like, I'm not looking to do challenge runs for all these kind of things at this point, but could I be inclined to try speedruns for it at some point? Maybe. Who knows? Oh, you mean from your time playing Dark Souls 1, mate? Your first ever Souls game. I mean, look, it gave you... Sancho's completed that before you even did. And he did it with a challenge, mate.
Huge.
Thank Expedition 67 for destroying a lot of the walls.
You've got to finish that, you know, right?
Progress without that.
Feels like home.
How are you doing, Simon? Welcome in, sir. Welcome in. Pick the one with that's one to start with. Which one would you start with then, Simon? Never, no, Prodigy. You gotta finish it, mate. That was your making affiliate one. Bloodborne, I've never played. I've had nothing but good things. But then again, you are a PlayStation like fanboy, so I get that as well. I mean, come on, don't tell me that's not playing a part in it. And there's nothing wrong with it because Bloodborne is a cracking game. For what I've seen of it, it's good. But he's like, yeah, I got Bloodborne, you ain't. Fuck you. It's here.
So he creates all of that for her.
We should take it out. It'll definitely be an advantage against Iran.
That's fair, and it should be everywhere by now. Agreed. Oh, okay, we're not doing it the first time now.
Last chance.
Interesting.
Time to hit big.
In that case, maybe it's worth it. Going with some of the other setup first. I might put CL first. And Fortune's Fury up. That's not a bad shout. And again, I might as well just get rid of Verso then. And just go CL and Mayal. Oh, split there. The moan, how are we doing anyway? Oh. After this, I'll grab a tea, and then we'll decide on the remainder of the stream. Not bad, not bad. We're just blasting through this quick and simple run, and then we're gonna have a little bit of discussion, folks. So I'm gonna require you to use your words. I know, right? You would have thought that. Let's use our words, people.
We're finally there.
She's waiting at the end of this tunnel.
Then we should prepare before we head there. She's even grander than I thought.
Yune, you're okay, right?
I swear I've seen this dance before.
Alright, so we've got CL to go first. We're going to give Maya all the buffs that she needs. So 1, Fortune's Fury, which is going to double her damage. 2, Powerful. And then there you go. 15 mil. I hope you're all enjoying the little VV there. Big shout out to Javasaurus there. There's a little VV that he drew himself. He shared out the thing. So I was like, oh, you know what? We can share some holiday cheer on it. So you got little VV just popping up every so often, just to say Merry Christmas to you all.
Wow. I drank too much last night.
I can't remember a thing.
You clean me out.
As a me.
You bunch of drunks. We can finally reach the paintress.
Let's make sure we're well prepared beforehand. We still have a little bit of time.
Feetsies. Monica loves him some feet. Do, 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 do. Hmm? Okay, cool. Why that walk seems so much longer than normal.
A bit of violence, yes.
Sweet. We've got Renoir line skip.
We are inside the monolith? What was that thing? Why did it help us inside?
Are you all right, Mael?
Up there. She's...
You being, well, you didn't miss much because you being a pussy. You're not doing Dark Souls. I had to walk to the office. Why'd you have to walk to the office? I mean, whilst you're at work, so did you have to walk across the floor to get to your office? The hardships.
I guess we head up then.
We just head up to Renoir for the line skip part, and then we've just got Paintress and Renoir, and then we are done, basically. We are done.
Verso, what was that?
I don't know.
Fire. Again.
Again. Teaching her children to paint, huh?
So in terms of the hitless run, so obviously we're going to have a timer there, just general, to see how long it takes us to do it, right? Do we care about splits in terms of that? Do we care about potentially looking remotely at the splits we have for it, or is just time overall spent? What do we think?
Who is she fighting?
Thank you for the lurk whilst you work and work, Choco. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Right, not far off. And then Paintress is just pretty quickly after that, and so is Renoir. So yeah, we're effectively done. I don't know how long it's going to take. The animation, the cutscenes have to go. I'm going to check something quickly. It's not even bloody checking game time. Okay. Whatevs. So we're going to RTA with this.
Memories.
How do you know that?
The chroma here. I can read it.
Right. Off we go. Will you see how to set up with Fortune's Fury into all set into Stendhal and Renoir be one shot? And then same process should apply to Paintress too. And then same for Renoir.
I don't understand.
Ian, welcome in, sir. Welcome in. How are you? Have you unlocked the new level of Mega Bonk yet? Oh yeah, Project says a new level of Mega Bonk as well. In case folks didn't know. Well, I see him playing error, Twitch API error. Okay. What did you do here? He broke stuff. I thought you had to beat the final thinger. You had to beat the boss or whatever. Calcium dead. There's no new characters in it, just a new map, isn't there? Alright, Fortune's Fury. Done. Boss you have to kill. But his unlock is crazy. Okay, interesting. Is it going to help you get a good score though? That's the question. Is it going to help you get a good score?
We're outside.
That's what I'm here for. That's the question I'm asking. That's what I want to know. Are we going to get the healing special?
Once we go up, there's no turning back.
True that. Steve. I just think of the monkey from Cloudy with Chance Meatballs. Steve.
Deck. Show me what you can do. That's lucky.
Phase 1 done. Oh, not quite. Interesting.
I can do it. Fiery.
That is interesting. Okay, we've got a Virtuoso Strike to do it next time.
Renoir can grieve however he likes, but I get to grieve my own way.
I mean, you never know. She's got powerful on her. Fortune's Fury is wasted right now.
Your fate is sealed.
Okay, she got a lot of health. She got a lot of health.
Tell your father I don't need him to look out for me. Here we go.
Okay, so we go all set. And then we go... We'll just use the Fortune's Fury anyway, because no big deal. We'll just
You can't escape.
minor damage, but it's fine.
I can do it.
I'm I know exactly what
Oh.
Deal me in.
Okay, so okay, we just missed that. Genius. Let's interrupt her so she didn't get the stun off. This has been really slow, but it's fine. Go into that. I feel like we're not going to be able to one-shot Renoir. Maybe I might have to throw Verso in the middle.
the cards have spoken.
Come on, skip. Hurry up. I have no idea why this splitter did not pick up on game time. Annoying, but we'll just go with the RTA. It's fine.
Alicia, quit dawdling. End of the corridor, you know where it is. Our parents, he has. I need you to take. Don't. The conflict is. You will do nothing. The right is you, and I can't so trade. Although, if you, I'll fight this. Can you handle that? Lest you forget. Good. And re.
Alright, question chat. A very random one. I mean, obviously I know we've done first Berserker. If I was to speedrun a Souls-like game, which would you want to see? And why? If you're going to throw context in there, I'd like some reason behind too. Why? And I don't mean just play through a game, I actually mean to speedrun it. Which one and why?
Are you?
Is he bad? What?
Save.
Save it. I don't. I was. Everything I.
Fucking hell.
Oh, please.
Thank you.
As long as you.
You got it.
Not to.
Thanks for this.
Was it? What will you?
I'll do my.
Quite as.
We have to.
I'm surprised.
He's been
If you and your.
What's the.
Maybe.
Professor.
You're fighting. Eileen. Our whole. Lune.
I was right.
And what would you...
I wouldn't have been.
So you choose...
That's your.
Knowing what you know. I don't...
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with CL Verso and Mael. Because I might use Verso to put Defiant Strike on for a marking shot. So that we actually one-shot thingy. That might be what we needed with the Paintress there, just to guarantee it.
Once we're ready,
Alright,
we can head to.
on to the last bit.
Flashing through the sky.
These expeditioners are glorious wreakers of havoc.
The sword of Lumia.
Alright, let us get this done. Last hurdle. I think if we go with that setup as well, it should do run around one. It'll probably scuff turnover if we go for the next part, but it's fine. We can just make it work. Right. Who's feeling Christmassy for next week? Who feels like it's Christmas? Anybody feeling Christmassy? Because I honestly keep forgetting it's next week. The only part that reminds me of Christmas, my little girl. Bless her. Can't wait to see her face. No? Not feeling Christmassy at all, Simon? Not even whilst you're loitering around Moki's house, trying on her clothes? I see, I know you've been doing. Prancing around in a frock. Mm-hmm. 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 What, because you got called out on it? No denial, just straight to that's outrageous. There's no denial in that statement. There was not. No, I'm not. There was nothing like that. And no, that's not. We don't share. That's mine. How dare you?
Let's go.
Okay. This is ironic. Oh, okay. Let's. What's insane? I mean, look. There's no denial there. You see, this is not worth denying because you know he's been sitting there. He's enjoyed the freedom. He's like, ah, I can see why they wear him now. It's great. As long as he's not gone that one step too far and put that G-string on.
I can't sustain the expedition as much longer.
Matt, we need to defeat them fast.
Levy failed with all the flood in my state. 46k people being evacuated. Oh.
Your father's been extra inspired.
Okay, that's on a more serious note. That bad over there? Oh yeah, I should have actually just put use last chance going into that. Never mind.
Papa's over there. And the chroma we need to.
We've had record rainfall.
Even I can sense.
Simon. Simon's like Nelson.
Better make sure we're ready.
Major flood in the most estate. I mean, project's been in a state for ages, but you know, let's not talk about his looks right now. We're on about serious matters. Where he resides. That's not the order I wanted. Ah, where's that putting me? But if this puts me miles back and I've just lost all that, I'm just gonna laugh and carry on. Okay, cool. Puts me there. Sweet. Lune Verso. We want... it's what you said, just unfortunate. I mean, I know. It was unfortunate. That comes in with a very serious matter, and we're talking about Simon like air drying his nuts in a, you know, dress.
Time to strike.
Maximum damage. This will hurt. Cut him down.
Alright, he's gonna have a lot of health. I'm just curious here. Alright, let's go I don't think we're doing that kind of damage. Let's find out now. 20 mil?
Incoming.
Alright, okay. We got that kind of damage out, but I don't think we're gonna get 20 mil out again.
Stop this insanity. It's time to go home.
Take your shot.
Yeah, unfortunately,
This selfish Aline.
okay. I just loved how casual that was. I didn't mean to do it. So, same again. Fortune's Fury. All set. Apply defenseless. Fine strike. Isn't that right? Somebody clip that. Well, yeah. To be fair, that was it. Right, I was like, oh, I should have dodged this. I'm gonna die. Somebody's gonna die. I'm gonna ruin the entire thing and have to redo the fight again. Ooh, what did they nerf? I'm intrigued. I mean, I'm on PC. I could play the penultimate patch. Oh, of course it is. I mean, that's not as broken as it used to be though. That is with a Fortune's Fury doubling the damage. That is with powerful, and that's with a marking shot all applied to it. So that could be a lot worse. Like OG Stendhal was 100 times worse. That's why some PC players still run that patch, so they can just go broken Stendhal. That was wasn't that like the first nerf they had? They've not nerfed it again by another 40%, have they? I was gonna say he didn't want to die. Yeah, by 40%, and it still does crazy numbers. We'll have a look at the patch. See if we find it. Alright, back to the menu. That is done. I'm intrigued. We'll check the patches when I come back. And then, alright, 61339. Okay, yeah, we're on a new patch. Okay. Easy, easy. Alright, folks. I'm gonna get myself a drink. I'll be back in a moment. And then we're gonna